Uh-oh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Husky Boys are back. Episode 33. You know what time it is. It is super late at night.
Woo!
Way past our kids' bedtime. I think it's fair to say they're all
Passed out.
yeah, they're Dunskies. Hit my kid with the hey, I'll give you 2 songs and you're done.
Dunzo.
She didn't really fight it. She's just more like you tell Lucy, like, hey, it's time to go to bed. She's just like, okay,
Cool.
great. See ya. Put me in my sleep sack. I'm not gonna argue. Thank goodness. On a different note, we did want to start off tonight, and like we understand some of you have given us some lip service of like, "Hi, where's my podcast
Where's
at?"
my podcast?
Dude, chill. If that's you, shut up. Chill, chill, bro, ma'am. I don't care.
If that's you, shut up.
Shut up. Maybe it's a little harsh for me wearing my kids like headphones that I'm wearing right now. I just wanted to could be the move.
It looks good.
Thanks.
I mean, we started out just doing this on our silly computers. We've got mics.
Mm-hmm.
We've got these little spit guard things. Whatever.
You got a cowboy hat.
I got a cowboy hat. You've got on headphones. It's like a real podcast,
bro. Just tell me when we got this the studio set up, and we're gonna be popping off. Our wives are gonna be like,
"That's next."
Y'all sure you got a studio now? Y'all really? And like, who? It's our show.
We need it. The people keep complaining.
Yeah,
we put this out. Yeah,
I get the where's my show. I get the I'm going to send an email with 1,000 questions about Missouri and why they're the best and why you got to pay my lunch next quarter because they're the best. And I'm like, okay, send the email. Where's the email at? We have we have a literal Gmail. It's called the Gold Standard Cbb at Gmail. Send us your questions.
Yeah, I totally knew that.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not hiding anything from you. I just figured as an adult, you kind of get to that point where you're like, hey, you don't need me.
Your show too. You can do whatever you want.
Hey, on a different subject, real quick, because I thought it was actually a good way to open up the show, especially for those of you if you're listening. I feel like everybody can get in on this. So Hoops and I just got done in a group text. It was tossed out to us by our boy Thomas Cox. So he threw out 2 Mount Rushmores. Well, I guess he threw out the first one that said, what is your Mount Rushmore of Disney villains? And then I think Razor brought up, can we do a Mount Rushmore of just villains? And that's like, there's no barrier. It can be TV, it can be movie, it can be a real life villain. If you got your neighbor, you hate them, whatever. So I wanted to toss it to you real quick because I feel like this could be great. And listeners, you can tell us what your Mount Rushmore is. It's your Mount Rushmore. There's no, we're not here to hate on it. So, Hoops, I want you to go first. I want you to tell me your Mount Rushmore of Disney villains.
Okay.
Then I'll say mine, and then we'll move on to just regular villains.
Just regular villains. Disney. I think we agreed in that text that given that Disney owns Pixar, we can throw Pixar in there with the Disney villains. I mean, number one, I think we all were kind of in agreement, total scumbag, but Ernesto de la Cruz from Coco. Oh,
absolute pull.
Oh,
yeah, he's terrible.
You dog, Ernesto, and not in a good way. Dude's a murderer. Dude's a thief. Dude's a fraud.
Yeah,
Ernesto sucks, dude. He sucks. I got Lotso from Toy Story 3.
Mm-hmm.
He's like running a police state at this daycare, and just throws all the new toys into the, I think it's called like the butterfly room or maybe that's whatever. He throws them in the room with to be basically killed by the toddlers, while Lotso and his buddies get to sit on high, getting played with by the older kids. Yeah, he basically sentences toys to their death.
Yep,
sucks. I would say Hades.
It's a good one.
Please, he's a great villain. Great villain.
What was your fourth one? I'm reading back through the.
Who was my fourth one? I think it was Jafar.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's
Yeah,
what it was.
Jafar's a great one too.
Mine.
I feel really passionate about the first two, but
yeah.
yeah.
My this like it kind of makes sense if you know me, and if not, like I can understand if you've got feedback. Completely understand. Here's my list: Ernesto de la Cruz,
Scumbag.
Jafar, Cruella de Vil,
Ooh.
and then my boy Chef Skinner from Ratatouille.
He's tough.
Tough luck. You get tied up by a bunch of rats. Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's awesome. That's what they say. Sucks to suck. All right, real quick. Your Mount Rushmore of just villains.
Just straight villains?
Yeah.
Any kind of villain?
I'm just going based off of what you listed in the group text.
Oh, like movies, movie villains.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm not trying to
yeah.
like spin zone of like you have to come up with completely different answers. No,
yeah,
I'm saying like you present what you said earlier.
Movie villains. I don't have it in front of me, but I think I can do it off the top of my head. I would say I'm a big Lord of the Rings guy, so like Sauron / the Ring. That's up there. Just the ultimate corruptor. I would say Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards. That dude, whoa,
Whew.
Bad guy. Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. I don't know. Have you seen that movie or read the book? Oh man,
definitely not the book. I don't want anybody to ever pin me down on like, hey, I bet you're a guy who's probably read the book, right? Like,
I don't know. You're a smart guy. I respect you.
No, not you. I feel like you would understand that. I'm saying like to the listening audience. It's like Dee gives it to me all the time about like Harry Potter. I've seen all the movies. I've read 3 books.
Oh.
I quit reading it like after 5th grade.
You know that I like,
but anyway.
I will roll with you on like any bit for the most part because you're my boy, but that's one I can't. The books are so good.
I'm not even denying that the books are probably spectacular. I know.
Well, you'll read them to your kids at one point, I'm sure.
Sure.
Who was my last one?
You had Dolores Umbridge.
Was she in, I felt like she was an honorable mention.
Oh no, sorry. That was on your dishonorable mentions. My bad.
Dishonorable mentions. Yeah. Oh, the Joker.
Joker.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah. That's fair.
All
right. Once again, probably to you, my list somehow makes sense and also just doesn't make sense at the same time.
Your list is great.
Mount Rushmore of just villains. First, in no particular, in particular order. Number 1, Jeremy Jam from Parks and Rec.
That's the best one. You just got jammed.
Number 2, Balthazar Bratt from Despicable Me 3. And I promise you, like, again, I know for those of you, when you're hearing this, you're going to think, there's no way. I'm dead serious. And I dug deep on these.
I've not seen Despicable Me 3.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
But it's so like, it's still just great. It's a great pick. I've never seen it.
Number 3, Boyd Crowder from the TV series Justified.
Oh, so good.
And then number 4 was Hans Gruber from the movie Die Hard.
Fantastic. He's one of the best.
My dishonorable mention for just villains was my boy Tom Kazansky, aka Iceman.
Which I almost said something, but Iceman becomes, kind of his buddy at the end.
I know.
You could bring my wingman anytime.
Oh, it's so good. But just for that first half of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
You're just like.
Real, yeah. Oh, I hate that guy.
But he's great. Yours was Shooter McGavin. That was so good.
I looking back on it, I might have to bump someone from the Mount Rushmore. Shooter McGavin's so good. I also thought of like, White Goodman from Dodgeball or Tony Perkis from Heavyweights. They're kind of the same character.
Oh,
Played by Ben Stiller.
just Ben Stiller essentially just being himself.
Yeah, picking on fat people. Ben Stiller picking on fat people is a great
Just what he does in real life too, huh?
Yeah.
Just kidding. I have no idea. Don't sue me, Ben Stiller. Hey, folks, I hope that was like a good giggle for whenever you listen to this, whether you somehow are up late tonight working and you're listening to it at 11 p.m. or you're listening to it on the car ride to work, or maybe you're at work, whatever. We hope you send in your Mount Rushmores to us or give any kind of feedback if you think Chef Skinner from Ratatouille is a very lame pull by me. And then I'll just tell you to like kick rocks and go watch some more movies.
Yeah.
You cultured swines. So uncultured swines. Dang it. I missed that one. All right, Hoops. Last time you and I were together, we talked about it before I hit the record button. You were steaming hot in your truck on the way home to drop me off from the Tennessee-Kentucky game at the Tommy Bowl. Since then, basically everybody in the country, including our teams, have pretty much played 8 games at this point. Everybody's kind of got 3 games left. Saturday, midweek game next week, and then next Saturday, and then we're in it. Well, actually, it starts this Saturday, March 1st.
Yeah.
Are you ready? We've been ready.
We're 2 sleeps away, basically. March.
Man. Oh. There's so much. What does John Fanta say? As you shared the video the other day.
I'm just feasting on hoops, baby. I don't need anything. I'm just feasting on hoops, baby.
I only feast on hoops, baby.
Oh. We got our first kind of taste of it last night.
Sure.
My Maryland Terrapins.
That's right.
Yeah, my Maryland Terrapins.
It is. And
yeah.
Yeah.
They huge game against Michigan State. I mean, it was the biggest Maryland basketball game in, maybe a decade. And Michigan wins on a buzzer, almost 3/4 court shot at the buzzer to win it. Silence the crowd in College Park, Maryland. I mean, madness already.
I mean, it was so great. I also, at one point, was I don't remember what I was doing, but I was like checking the score just to kind of like keep updated on Apple Sports. Great app, by the way, for those of you if you need one. I saw at one point there was probably like 3 minutes left, and I think it was like tied at 21. And I almost texted you to say this isn't right, is it? But then I'm like, no, that seems about right. Just a good old rock fight.
It was
up in Maryland.
Rock fight. Total rock fight.
It's Tom Izzo's, like, of course Tom Izzo's team's going to come in there and just be like, yeah, we plan on just laying a bunch of clunkers up here, but in College Park, we bring the boxing gloves.
You got to get those rebounds somehow.
And then we're fans of a gentleman named Ryan Hammer. If you don't follow him, he's great follow.
College basketball follow.
Great follow. He was in attendance, sitting right behind the Michigan State bench, like a row or two behind it, first person view. So, I mean, you get the missed shot right there, 2.5 feet away from the goal. Michigan State missed layup, rebound, and you could, I mean, the buzz. Oh, you could.
Oh, tie ball game.
Who was it? What's the point guard's name for Maryland?
Oh, shoot. I was getting ready to pull up that score just to get his name.
Sure.
Because he shot a stinker of a final shot there.
I mean, even you sent a text later on that night. Dang it, what's his name?
Is that not Rodney Rice? Oh, no. Jacoby Gillespie.
Yes, Gillespie. So Gillespie comes down the court. You're thinking, so I mean, at this point, by the time he crosses half court, there's still 10 seconds left. Tied ball game. Naturally, one might think, I'm just going to dribble for a couple seconds, let it get down to like 5, and then
at least you want to be sure you're taking the last shot.
Correct.
Worst
So
case scenario, you miss and you go to overtime.
make a move, try to get to the bucket, get a foul, maybe dish it. If you're driving the lane, maybe your teammates open in the corner for a pocket three.
Yeah.
Anything, right? Just let the clock go down a couple seconds. No, my boy just pulls
I
from
mean,
NBA three.
it was like a few steps back from an NBA three. With 5 whole seconds left.
Yes. So he misses on the front end.
Yeah, bricks it.
Oh, yeah. Michigan State gets the rebound. They throw it up to the up court, 2 dribbles, 3/4 length through, or heaves it, nothing but net.
Bang.
Oh,
Madness.
ah,
Madness. Trey Holman or Holloman.
yeah, yeah.
Ooh, buddy.
Like you said, I mean, diehards, Maryland fans at least. You're like, yeah, this is the biggest game we've had in years.
Well, and like Maryland sneaky is like a contender this year.
100%.
I mean, I'm from Maryland. I have a lot of friends who are Maryland fans. If you look at like the last 3 of Maryland's losses have basically come on either buzzer beaters or the other team takes the lead with 10 seconds left and then Maryland missed at the buzzer. Like razor thin margin of defeat. Easily could have gone the other way. You're easily talking about Maryland being a top 10, maybe close to top 5 team this year. They've been really good. Obviously that was a little bit of a clunker of a game, but that would have been a huge win over a top 10 team in Michigan State. I mean, watch out for Maryland. They've been really good.
Well,
Kind of under the radar.
no, I think that's a great opinion. Probably any game you watch at this point, especially like last night, tight window ball games. That's pretty much what we're going to see when the NCAA tournaments, conference tournament games start in less than 10 days also. So I feel like that's just what we're going to see left and right. And thankfully, at this point, too, if it happens to you, listener, whoever your team is, if your team's pretty much already in the tournament and they've already been getting in Joe Lafrati's bracketology camp, if they've been living there for a couple weeks, like, you're probably fine. You drop a game last second like that, like I wouldn't worry too much about it. Like any of the teams that are flirting with the first 4 in, next 4 out kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be sweating. At that point, you're like, we really can't drop a game.
Like Georgia's win Tuesday night against Florida was huge for them. They are on the bubble. That might put them in if they kind of don't collapse these last few games.
You think that saved Mike White's job? Which, by the way, I'm not even saying that Mike White was necessarily on the hot seat. I have no scoop from Burner Ball. If I did, I would say
no. I don't think he. Because what's this year? Is this year 2? Year 3?
3.
I mean, to me, it's hard to be too. To me, next year would be the year of like, hey, we got to see something more from you. Because it's like, man, especially this year, this conference is ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's everyone is. I mean, yeah, South Carolina, LSU, but like everyone else, like can beat anybody on any night. And yeah, I think next year's probably put up or shut up for Mike White, but that win certainly helps. They were up double digits most of the middle portion of that game. Almost blew it. Well, really kind of did blow it for a second, and then our Knoxville's very own Blue Cane decided it was time. I think it's Blue Cane time, is what he probably said to himself. Hit the go-ahead 3, sealed the deal. Blue Cane, Georgia Bulldogs, keeping their season alive.
Thank you, Blue Cane.
You got some Blue Cane thoughts over there?
No, I had this. Okay, it's not about Blue Cane. It's actually about Brandon Garrison. So
Mm.
A couple nights ago on the Blue Sky app, some rando put this put this message out, Kentucky fan, and it got sent into the Discord. And he, in quotes, in like all caps, put "It's Brandon Garrison time" with the asterisk Brandon Garrison.
Yeah. It must have been the same account because I saw the same exact post for
So,
it. It's got to be Blue Cane time,
and
quote
I'll
unquote, Blue Cane.
and I'll talk more about Brandon, and the big their win against Oklahoma. But like anytime he had a huge bucket, I'm in like Discord in all caps. I'm imagining I'm Brandon Garrison sitting on like in front of the table about to check in, and then get up and going, "It's Brandon Garrison time." Brandon Garrison. And they're the only ones that think that. It's time.
I'm a guy who loves a good bit. That's a great bit.
So good. And I mean,
Great.
I put it on the Kentucky admin put out from their official basketball account on Instagram.
Yeah.
One of their more recent posts. And so I put that on there. And I just am like, those who will get it will get it. But one rando guy was like, "This is a very underrated comment." And I was like, "You get it. Thank you.
You get it." Yeah.
So yes, it's probably the same guy. And he's just moving the target on who's the player that's saying it. It's Blue Cane time.
It really almost is even better if it's coming from Blue Cane.
Exactly.
Look at him. Come on.
Oh, you need to go look at the before and after. So go look at Blue Cane as a freshman when he entered college, and then like basically what's his haircut now.
Oh, had that trash ponytail.
Speaking of trash, and when you mention him, it just quick shout out to South Carolina. They got their first win in league play. And they beat dumb old Texas. Rodney Terry,
Texas. Horns
you
down.
need to go. You are about to be in the unemployment line, brother. I say that when Texas beat Kentucky a couple of games ago in Austin, but
they've got talent, which probably lends to more Terry.
I mean, what's his face? Trey Johnson.
Yeah, Trey Johnson's awesome.
Gonna be a lotto pick. One of in like most recent years, he's as a freshman, he's currently averaging 20 points a game.
Yeah, and you're 5-10,
7th in the country. No big deal.
Yeah,
but there's also a reason why they're 16-11. So, yeah, big ups to South Carolina. I think it's probably kind of an off year after last year's run where they did pretty great. Yeah. Other than that, let's how about this? Let's just dig into you talk Tennessee. I'll talk a little bit of Cats. Like, what's kind of been your feelings the last couple of games? You can recap who they played the other night. LSU,
yeah.
You can recap that game if anything stuck out to you. I'll talk about Cats and Sooners and where I feel like we're at now. Then we can dabble on anything else, conference or national stuff. But I want you to take it away. Tell what's been on your mind for the last month since we were physically last together.
Yeah. I feel like since the first Kentucky game, I'm just like looking at, obviously we lose at home to Kentucky. That was a back and forth weird game. Kentucky wins that one. You come back a few days later, crush Florida by 20. Then we win a really exciting game against Missouri by 4. Go out to Norman, Oklahoma, beat them by about 20. Then the other Kentucky game up in Lexington, which
I love that. I don't even think that not just you and I, but like even in group text, there wasn't like much conversation about, which I would say normally there's not. But even after the game, you just sent me a voice message that said, "I'm not happy."
Yeah. There was like 4 or 5 years ago, had to be like 5 or 6 years ago. I was just newly married, watching a Tennessee football game against Georgia. Jeremy Pruitt was our coach. We thought we had a chance. Georgia just stomped us. And it was a game that I stupidly had got my hopes up for and just threw a pissy pity party for myself as we're getting just crushed by Georgia. Garantano's committing one of his many turnovers. I'm throwing a fit. We're getting stomped. I'm so pissed. Game's over. My lovely wife, Erin, pulls me aside later and is like, hey, I was sitting with you that whole time. That was pretty unattractive. And I was like, ooh, I will never do that again. I will never allow a Tennessee game to affect me the way that just did. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And I think I had a pretty good run. And then that second Kentucky game happened a few weeks ago. And I still, she was sitting with me for most of it. And I kept trying to check myself. Because I can't do that again. I can't stoop to those levels of just acting like a baby. And she kindly, maybe she just was taking it easy on me, said I didn't go that far, but in my heart it felt like I did because I was so stinking mad watching us play. And half of it wasn't even I don't really get mad at other teams that much, but especially in hindsight now, because some of the guys who had that great shooting performance for Kentucky have turned out to be pretty good for you guys. But watching Trent Noah and Travis Perry, these two end of the bench white dudes who
From
should
Kentucky.
be like seniors in high school from Kentucky, come in and combine for like 20 points.
Yeah.
Just rain threes. I couldn't handle it. It was making me so mad. So anyway, that game happened. And then let's see what happened after that game. Let's go back to. So we get, have that crummy performance. Oh my gosh, my computer. Here we go. We get that win back against Vanderbilt. That was kind of a yucky game last week. Vanderbilt, it's just always weird. I think our most impressive win of the season, coming at Texas A&M last weekend. Chaz Lanier had a great game. Zakai had like 20 in the second half. And then you win a stinker at LSU this week, which is like, I just like, whatever. If you win on the road in the SEC at all, I don't quite care how you get there, just win.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
Yeah, whatever it takes. So like throughout that whole span of games, it feels like the thoughts I have on this team is it feels kind of like a classic Rick Barnes team at times of just, man, let's just grind. We're just going to grind it out and hope that we just make a couple more shots by the end. And, it feels like a race to get to upper 60s. Whoever gets to the upper 60s first between us and whoever we're playing will probably win. We're not going to be a team that you watch Alabama and Missouri and, Kentucky on certain nights, Auburn, that, they can easily have nights where they're in upper 80s, 90s, even 100 points. Tennessee cannot do that, will not do that. And sometimes it's just gross, grinded out rock fights at times. And that's kind of what it feels like this team can be. And then Chaz Lanier has kind of woken up in the past few games since, I would say, like the Oklahoma game, and the Kentucky since Oklahoma, it feels like he's kind of back shooting wise. For a few games, it just felt like, man, if he doesn't see the first couple shots go in, one of the first two, maybe three, well, Chaz doesn't have it tonight. And he's not going to work hard to get open, and he's not going to try to go to the hoop, and he's not gonna. And and then you've pointed out from like the Tennessee insiders in the Burner Ball group who are like close to the program, talking about how like it's pretty evident that his conditioning isn't up to Rick Barnes' staff's standards. I mean, it's become pretty. It's been storied and talked about plenty over the years that the guys who stick in Rick Barnes' system for 2, 3, 4 years have a physical transformation to their bodies and get bigger, stronger, faster, better conditioned. Chaz hadn't been here since he got here last summer. He's not had a lot of time, and he at times it seems pretty clear that he's just not in the physical shape that everybody else on the team is, and but he's so talented that makes up for it a lot of times. So lately, I feel like we're seeing, at least I'm seeing, more of like put the ball on the court and go to the basket and fight to get open, fight through screens, move. Because for a lot of the middle portion of at least league play, it's just been like, man, it's like if he's not getting a catch and shoot where he's open, it's like, okay, he's just gonna hot potato it back to Zakai or Gainey and just kind of mosey over into the corner. And it's like, okay, thanks for showing up tonight. So that's been great. I mean, the last few games, the way Zakai plays in the second half, I mean, he is the straw that stirs the drink for this team. He is the gasoline and the engine. We really go as Zakai. He has been all you could ask for. I've joked my wife is pregnant with our second child, and like Zakai Logan, it sounds great to me right now. It's like I love that guy so much. I would name my child after him.
I see no problem with that.
Yeah, thank you. My wife Erin doesn't quite agree yet.
That's fair. I also have never given birth, so I probably shouldn't.
Dang, you're right.
But I think it's worth it.
I'm not giving up. So all that to say, like, we're still Auburn's going to win the conference most likely. We got Alabama twice coming down this, or just once. We played them this
I was
weekend.
about to say, you're telling me in the next 3 games they got to play Bama twice?
No, I'm used to us playing them twice a season, and in my head I'm like, well, we haven't played them yet, and we're about to play them for the first time, and no, that's the only time we play them. So obviously this is a huge game. Really, what we're playing for right now is if you can get a 1 seed. Right now it's like Auburn's the most likely, if everything continues to play out, Auburn's your number 1 seed overall, best team in the country. Duke's not far behind them at all. It's kind of a pick 'em. Those are your 2 best teams.
Got Iowa State probably right after them.
Yeah.
You think Florida ends up in the top 4?
To me, it comes down to Bama, Florida, Tennessee. I think Houston probably gets the other 1 seed right now. I think they've pretty much locked up the Big 12. So to me, I think it comes down to Florida, Tennessee, and Bama, and that's how you close out the season, how you perform in the tournament. I think at worst, Tennessee is going to be a 2 seed. I mean, if things go horribly, maybe a 3 seed. But
I think they would have to lose out.
Yeah.
And then probably drop the first game in the SEC tournament to
you're talking losing like 4 straight if for that to happen. And the game Saturday, Bama at home, that's probably a toss up. But you got Ole Miss next I guess that's next Wednesday, and then South Carolina. Like those are two teams we should beat. Ole Miss is definitely a good team. We should beat them still.
Worst case, you should go 2-1.
Yeah. So that was a little long winded, but
It's okay.
all that to say, like we had like a middle of SEC play swing where we lost 3 of 4, and the offense looked bad, and Zakai looked off, Chaz looked lazy. But since then, since that second Kentucky loss, I've seen a different team, a team that looks like they have more life in it, more spring in their step, and Zakai just seems totally confident and in control. Really is a coach on the court. So I feel pretty good about us at least, getting a 2 seed, having a good draw for the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I feel like this team has quite the ceiling that we had last year with Dalton. But our defense can stymie a lot of teams. So I feel good about us right now. I wouldn't say I feel like awesome, but this feels a little business as usual for Tennessee right now.
Yeah. I can't remember. We may have talked about this last episode. I know we've talked about it privately just because Deacon brought it up. And I think he's the kind of guy that he's pretty intentional behind a microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Like usually like pretty generous in a loss, and he's trying to like really keep a lot of focus on like, hey, that team, whoever beat us, like they played great. This is how they expose us, yada yada. And if they win, he's going to try to praise players. But he got behind a microphone and kind of called out Chaz, and was like, so I can't even remember what game it was, but essentially was just like, yeah, I benched him at one point because we're paying him a lot of money to shoot the ball. And we intentionally ran a play for him. He didn't shoot it.
Yeah, I think that was the Vanderbilt game that we lost. The one at Vanderbilt. I think it was that one.
But that was one where I was like, oh my. Like he's had it.
Yeah. No, I mean he's like, for those, a lot of the like Tennessee insider people are pretty like upfront about how like, and I kind of get it. Coach his age who's done this as long, like the whole transfer portal NIL stuff is hard for Rick. It's such a, I appreciate that he is not one of these coaches who's like, I hate this, I quit, I won't do this. Like I appreciate that he is at least, open to like this. This is what it is now. You obviously don't have to like it. He clearly doesn't.
Yeah.
But if you want to be competitive, you have to embrace it. And to his credit, he has. But I think that's where, like, in his mind is proven right a ways when you bring in this guy who's getting, I mean, you probably know better than me what Chaz Lanier's NIL deal is, but I mean, it's in the 7 figures. You're getting paid a ton of money to come here for one season, and you're passing up shots and not working hard to get open. Do your job, essentially. Uphold your side of the deal. And sounds like it worked to a sense. Chaz has been a lot better lately.
Yeah.
Had almost 30, either 28 or 30 at A&M, top 10 matchup. Like
he had like back-to-back games. Was it Oklahoma and A&M where he?
Oh yeah, just
went off,
just going off. Yeah, he's been great. If he's making his shots, and Zakai is wheeling dealing, holding court out there, that's about as good as we get, and we can beat anybody.
Yeah,
if those two things are happening. So it'll be, I think you and I have talked about it a lot too. Is this Rick's last run? I don't know. I mean, there's a part of me that thinks it kind of is. I
Yeah.
mean, you and I think we both kind of think so. There's a part of me that, and I think a lot of Tennessee fans would also say that I can't imagine him wanting to come back and do this without a Zakai Ziegler on the team. Jemai Mashak's gone. Like those two guys are. How much of a load must that take off of him having two guys on the team like that who have been here for 4 years and just know the program inside and out, and you can have total trust in them out there, and they're there's some whispers that Zakai maybe tries to find a way to get a 5th year. I don't quite know how that works with COVID and whatever.
Yeah. There's basically, for anybody who's could be aware, maybe, or if you're totally unaware, there is a bill currently in the House. I read one guy on Discord, he had made a comment saying it's basically 70-30 that it gets passed, which would be huge. That it essentially is allowing 5th year guys to have another year.
Yeah.
Because there's been, without really getting in the weeds, it has more so to do with some folks who are at the, I guess it's kind of a two-part. One of guys who are in like JUCO, and that they would then be allowed to they've accrued several years in the JUCO world, but then, they could then go D1 and still have all 4 years available.
Yeah, I know, Vanderbilt's quarterback Diego Pavia was
correct.
Really, I guess he was already granted another year at Vanderbilt for that.
So
and that's where I'm like, well, Zakai is just a pure senior and has played 4 years at Tennessee.
Yeah,
I don't quite know how he's able to finagle another year. I would, I would maybe give the tip of my pinky for that to happen.
A bit. You're pulling a big cat move. I like it.
Yeah, I'd lose part of my pinky.
Just part of your pinky. It's fine.
Yeah.
Basically, if that bill gets passed, then guys like Zakai and whoever else most likely have another shot to stay if they want, which by all accounts from what I read seems like, unless Zakai had his agent calls and is like, hey, it's a done deal, no brainer. You aren't getting drafted past midway of the 2nd round.
Yeah.
I think that would be the only way he doesn't stay. I think he loves Knoxville, and that's pretty much the reason why Rick has stuck around. What I've read and what I've shared with you is he's pretty much been doing this song and dance for the last 3 years. And again, we lean that this is probably it, unless Zakai gets another year. And then at that point, I would say he's probably going to stick around, or at least consider it if he sees that he's got a team on the court who can be competitive in March and make a run. If he doesn't think so, then he's probably like, I'm out.
And I don't blame him. And there's been a part of me the last few years as these conversations have been happening of it's going to be sooner rather than later. Kind of looking forward to not that I want Rick gone. He has not only revived Tennessee basketball, but taken it to, I think, its greatest heights, at least in the last 30 to 35 years. But there's a part of me that's in a little well, what's next? Who could come in here? Because Rick has built a program where it's you can have a year in, year out top 10 college basketball program with an amazing fan base who will give a ton of money, and you can draw top of the line talent here. So I think it's and if he stays, great, we'll be awesome then too. But starting to get a little yeah, what's next for Tennessee basketball? So.
It'll be interesting. I think either way, it won't be super shocking.
Yeah.
Now that it's been kind of like, hey, yeah, the noise has gotten a little louder. So, you want to listen to me talk? We'll talk Cats real quick.
Cats, baby.
Con Man went to Lexington, beat Kentucky. That sucked.
I mean, it was the first time that I've ever had like
of all
appointment
games
viewing Kentucky, but like I can't miss this. I can't miss
and
this.
It was an absolute cinema theater not performance of like how he went about it. Just like what was said behind the scenes, like ESPN brought out the good camera. That whole thing, which it's fine. It was the like when Coach K's doing his last ride thing and he made it all about him. You're getting the like best of the best equipment, setup, the whole song and dance, and cool, great storyline. It's a big thing. Then they handled business, and it was wildly annoying. Just because now, granted, to him and Arkansas's credit, they are probably like playing their way in to the tournament, and whether it's a last four in, or some seed line where they sneak in. Cool, good for him. This is like textbook con man. You start to get a little hot at the end of the season. You get in,
all about March. It's all about March.
It was only about March.
Only ever about March.
What really happens in between all that doesn't matter, man. It was always about March.
Always about March.
But hey, if you lose, you at least get to go home and see your dogs. So,
I kind of hope they make it.
Sure, I kind of hope they make it too. So then they lose in the first round of the
NCAA
then
that's it.
This is.
Although it still would be pretty dang funny if they didn't make it.
Oh, I've said it here before. I pray for their downfall every single game. Every game. Like I was heated after the Kentucky-Oklahoma game. Flipped it over to. Well, honestly, at one point, Arkansas was up almost double. Well, they were up double digits. I was going to say almost 20 on Texas, and kind of thought like, this is nothing. And then next thing I know, they're in OT. So I was like, time to get to ESPN2. Here we go. And then they did the thing and they beat Texas. So, who do they play? I'm going to look it up right now. They've got.
Who Arky plays next?
Yeah, let's see. Beat Arkansas or they beat Texas. Okay, so come on, man. They play at South Carolina on Saturday. You know what? I'm not going to put it past South Carolina.
No, you shouldn't.
I'm not, because Arkansas stinks. They
gave Auburn a game.
Arkansas stinks shooting wise.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Then the next game is at Vanderbilt. Please. And then
weird stuff happens in that gym.
They host Mississippi State last game, which I don't know, man. Christians kind of been weird. Like,
Mississippi State had a kind of a they definitely are good.
They're good, but there's been a couple games Mississippi State plays, and I mean they get torched.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of live on that, like, we're really competitive, we keep it close, or we're just getting blown out by 20. Which I don't know. Maybe it speaks more.
It feels like but Mississippi State just like lives and dies with Josh Hubbard. I mean,
I'd take him.
Oh, I love watching Josh Hubbard play. Not against my team
tomorrow,
but
yeah,
dude's he's going to take probably 30 shots or somewhere 25 to 30 shots a game, and when he makes them, it's pretty special.
Yeah. But that game happened. That kind of started this weird trend. I'm trying to think what game exactly it happened. So if you go all the way back to the mid-January, Lamont Butler got hurt against Texas A&M. Shocker. Buzz's team causes the shoulder injury. Buzz should be in jail. And basically has put Lamont in this weird spot. I think at one point he had not played in like 6 games straight. So now he's back. Word is it's just pure like it's a pain tolerance thing. Like he would play every game with the shoulder configuration stuff he's got going on. But it's just purely like dude's a driver. He initiates, wants to take on contact. He's not scared of it. He's going to die for loose balls, but you're also like, hey, bro, your non-shooting shoulder is like pretty jacked up. We should probably like not go 100%. 80's fine. Then Jackson Robinson got hurt. I actually got hurt in practice. Thanks, Brandon Garrison. After the Ole Miss game, which that was like, I will say in my lifetime being a Kentucky fan, there hasn't been many times I've just willingly turned off a game. Even when like COVID year, when they went 9-16, and I mean stunk to high heavens.
It was a good year.
I watched every game. Now, granted, I was like in my like miserable state, and that's when I completely turned on Cal and whatever. So all I have to say is, but the Ole Miss game at one point in the first half, I was like, y'all are down almost 30 points. This is embarrassing. Like I think I'm just gonna either go to bed, take a walk, or something. Ended up sticking it out because they like made a small run in the second half. Ended up getting beat by Ole Miss 98-84. Thankfully, they exercised their demons and avoided that terrible like potential 3-game skid in league play, which would have been just completely detrimental. Handle South Carolina at home. Tennessee game. Then you go to Texas and you're really thinking like, okay, we're feeling good. Jackson's hurt, Lamont's hurt, but like we're handling it. We're handling business. Guys like Trent, guys like Trent Noah, Travis Perry, Colin Chandler. I mean, they all had to step up. It was just hey, we all got to handle it by committee here. Our starters are out.
Yeah.
And if you don't step up, then we're definitely going to get ran off the court. But if you step up a little bit, and we're not asking you to play out of your mind, but do what you kind of got recruited here to do, whether it was like Ainsley Almanor. It's like, bro, we know you came from Fairleigh Dickinson. You came here to shoot threes. Like, shoot them. We know you stink at defense. We'll live with it, depending on the situation. But
I mean, both he and Kobe Bryant are shooting over almost 43.5% from 3.
Yeah. I'm like, shoot it every time.
Yeah.
If you've got a smidge of an opening, shoot it.
All day.
Yeah, Texas game, you lose there. Handle business against Vanderbilt at home. Another game that, well, actually, they started red hot against Bama at their place. And I thought, okay, might have something here.
Yeah.
At Bama?
Nah,
they turned the burners on. Lost that 96-83. Which gets us to Brandon Garrison time in Oklahoma. And my God, that unbelievable Lamont. Actually, to take injury into play again. Jackson misses his first couple shots, third 3 he attempts, drains. You're feeling like fresh breath of air. Okay, great. See a ball go in. We're good. He played, I think, then 20 seconds of the second half, sat out the rest of the game, and had, essentially a ice cast over his hand, which was like, that's fun. Okay, great.
Yeah. Lovely. Yeah.
Lamont, he pretty much did what he could and looked good. He ended up fouling out about 7 minutes left in the second half. Just is it's just one of those games where they the refs decided to, all right, we're gonna kind of plug ourselves in here.
Y'all want to shoot some free throws?
Well, they made it a free throw fest. With like 11 minutes left in the first half, I'm like, oh, we're okay, cool. We haven't even made it to halftime, and we're shooting team free throws. Awesome. So they did that. Admittedly, then they pretty much flipped it on Oklahoma the second half. Whatever. I've said my piece here. I've at least tried to get to the point of like, refs are going to ref. Don't unless it's just obviously egregious that they miss something. Then fine, go off on it. But otherwise, like, let the team beat the team. You got to play according to how the ref in the game. So, yeah, pretty much your game MVP was Otega Owe. Finished the night with 28 points. Otega scored every field goal except 2 free throws in the last 9 minutes of the second half.
Scored their last 18 points.
He had 5 points in the first half.
Against his former team.
Yeah. Otega played at Oklahoma for 2 years. They had asked him about it, before the game, and he was like, I loved Oklahoma. Loved the staff. Loved the city, everything. Just spoke very nicely of it, and he was just like, I was just ready for a different – just basically I wanted to be at a different stage that felt a little bit bigger than Oklahoma, which I get it. Like,
fair enough.
If you've got shooters calling, okay, cool.
Shoot.
Fill them and
see if we can
land somewhere. Landed in Lexington. And then my boy Brandon Garrison, who played at Oklahoma State before transferring to Kentucky. So I guess he just hates Oklahoma. Fine with me.
Yeah.
I don't care. He came off the bench, finished with 12 points, 5 of 8 shooting, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line. Was the only guy from Kentucky that had double-digit 3 points made. Would you believe that with guys like you just talked about, Kobe and Ansley?
Yeah.
Speaking of Ansley, he almost finished with another club trillion on the box score. 2 games in a row. Previous game, he shot 1-3, missed it. It was like,
Wait, who? You cut off a little bit from me. Who are you talking about here?
Yeah. So Ansley Almanor, for those unaware,
yeah.
When I talk about club trillion, that means in the box score, if you played at least 10 minutes in a basketball game, and all of your stat line just says zeros besides the minute mark. So
why didn't Almanor play that much?
I'll be honest. This is one of the, so I made that comment about like his defense is just quite frankly atrocious. I think he was a really bad matchup with Jalen Moore. He's a 4-man. He had a really good game. He went for 20. His teammate freshman Jeremiah Fierce, I think he'll be a draft pick. He had 18 points, but yeah, Moore, he kind of is you could probably play him anywhere, but he's a stupid athletic 4 guy, which it's a really hard matchup if you don't basically have that at the 4, which a lot of teams don't. So Ansley Almanor just like wasn't doing it. Moore carved him up on like 2 different possessions, and it was like, get
him out.
Okay. We're not mad at you. We just are like, this ain't working.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, apparently didn't know this. Jalen Moore and Otega are like boys. So that was kind of just another talking point coming into the game that they talk on a weekly basis. And, it was kind of fun. Like, I actually feel like camera guys did a good job. They would try to zone in on Otega as much as possible when it came to like, if he hit a bucket, hey, zoom in. He's probably John with Jalen. And they do. him and Brandon Garrison were letting it didn't matter. It didn't matter if Jalen's mom grandma was sitting behind the bench. She was getting it.
Yeah.
Everybody on Oklahoma. I just
he was about ready to fight everybody.
Yeah, and at the end of the game,
after the big block,
Brandon got into Fears' face. I mean, just like right here, letting him have it. And thankfully,
Amari came in.
Thankfully, Amari Williams literally grabbed him and shoved him the entire length of the court.
Yeah,
just to get him away. In some way, I'm great with the chippiness, and I want to see fire. I want to see fight, especially in some of those games where I'm like, y'all just kind of look like you rolled over and lay down within the first 10 minutes. I'm like, this ain't fun. This one showed fight, and then basically Otega won the game. They gave him the ball with the last 20 seconds, went and made a play, got to the rim, and just acrobatic, one-handed finish. Thankfully hits the middle of the backboard and goes in. And yeah, I thought my heart was going to mildly explode. I'm like, dude, I'm 32. I can't be like, oh God, please make this, or otherwise I'm gonna have a terrible night. I'm gonna wake my kids up. Indeedy. It was great, man. That feeling was probably the equivalent of watching Reed Shepherd beat Mississippi State last year on the road at the buzzer. Like, those are fun. Those don't happen too much, and obviously it's just electric when it's your team. So moving forward, I've played around with the scenarios like, man, what if you win out? Well, I mean, yeah, if you win out, you probably get a double bye in the SEC tournament. You could be flirting, if certain dominoes fall, maybe a 2 seed in the Subway tournament. But I'm like, I can't really, me personally, I'm not going to live in fantasy land just because I'm like, look, Jackson's still hurt. Lamont's still hurt. Apparently, Amari, he had gotten hurt early in the first half, but it got said over post-game radio that, dude had an absolute monster ice pack on his ankle, which I was like, yeah, of course. Great. Walking onto the team bus. I think I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't care if we get a 3 or 4 seed. Just get into the NCAA tournament somewhat healthy.
I mean, I know that you have talked a few times, at least to maybe just mostly to me privately, about what the whispers about Mark Pope, and is he the guy for the future, and can he take us to where Kentucky fans expect us to go? I don't know about all that. But I don't know how, with the injuries that Kentucky has had this year, I mean, you lose, I know Creases wasn't a starter, was never going to be a starter, but was going to play big minutes for this team. You lose Butler for, gosh, how many games at this point? You've lost Jackson Robinson for a handful of games. Andrew Carr had that back stuff, and for Kentucky to be where they are with the amount of injuries they've had, and 7th in the hardest conference maybe ever, hats off to you, Mark Pope. What a dang job. And yeah, obviously it's not perfect, and they're even with the injuries, there's plenty to point to for that. You could be like, yeah, this could have been done better. The defense stinks some nights, but he's gotten it done for the most part in year one with tons of injuries to crucial players.
Yeah, I think I'm when this is all said and done and I take off my blue tinted glasses, I'm going to have to look at it objectively and say, yeah, actually, I think they did a pretty solid job for
considering everything.
Make my thing is, I would love if you got to the second weekend. If you got to the second weekend in year one, with everything you just talked about and how everything's went. Honestly, it probably sounds pathetic because I can just hear Big Bill and some other people like, oh, I thought the standard was championships at Kentucky, which I'm not saying you're wrong.
The standard.
Standard is the standard, but year one, you put a team together in a month. If you could get to the second weekend with all of those things that have happened, I'm going to be pretty excited launching into year two. Then you've had an entire calendar year to recruit and all that stuff. So, yes. At the moment, though, I'm like, I'm just like, can we just catch a break, dude? So,
healthy.
like Saturday, they play Auburn at home. Did you know Auburn hasn't beaten Kentucky at Rupp since the 80s?
Since when?
Since the 1980s. They have not beaten Kentucky at Rupp. I know. It doesn't make any sense.
I know Auburn for a big chunk of that wasn't any good at basketball, but
oh yeah, that's true.
But still, not once.
Given the situation, and I feel like I keep giving the same. Like anytime somebody asks me, like Tennessee Kentucky game the other night when y'all were like, "How you feeling?" I'm like, 60-40 Tennessee based off of injury, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of my same answer about Auburn right now. I'm like, I'm probably going to go 70 Auburn just because it's Auburn. 30 because I don't even think Jackson plays. Lamont, who knows what he gives you? He'll give you what you can.
Sure.
I think they got Auburn, LSU, Missouri. If you go, I wouldn't be great with 1 and 2. But even if you finished 1 and 2, you finished 20-11. But you've got a stellar resume of wins that you've got quad one wise. If you could get 2-1 out of that, I don't even care where it comes from. Auburn, LSU, Missouri. If you go 2-1, I'm feeling pretty stoked.
Totally.
About I think you're fighting for a 3 seed. So, yeah, dude, I don't know. Somehow weirdly cautiously optimistic while still holding this like smidge of pessimism because some of your best players are hurt.
Yeah.
Like if you want to do anything, they need to be healthy. So,
yeah.
That's all I got. You got anything else?
No.
I did have, I actually had to like really scroll back through our text. I want to give a quick couple shout outs of donkeys of the week. Shout out to the University of Indiana. Their head coach, by the way, is retiring at the end of the season. The other night,
totally his decision.
Yeah. They brought out the chair that Bob Knight threw across the court.
Do you think that was the actual chair that Bob Knight threw across the court?
Probably not, but I'm going to act like it was. Just
because I saw that and I was like, "There's no way."
Yeah,
I know. All right,
Indiana, I feel like is weird enough where they probably have that and they've
been trying it in the case.
That's the chair, and then what's his face? Mike Woodson sat in it with basically like a lifted cushion.
Yeah, it was weird.
Weird
look. Everything about this season for Indiana's been weird.
The blue sky tweet I sent you from the Sickos CBB committee, all they said is, "This is so weird."
It's so weird.
Also, the other this talk about Sicko. This is completely off the rails, and you and I sent this. Shout out Donkey of the Week, who probably never hear this. Andre Curbelo. He got kicked off of his basketball team at Southern Miss after he started at Illinois. Then he transferred to St. John's.
Was really good at Illinois.
Unbelievably
on
good.
Their,
I mean, talking about getting drafted first round.
Yeah.
And just completely plummeted. If you look him up, you'll probably find a viral video of him walking around at a Southern Miss game. He was injured, and he essentially just wearing a pea coat, looking
Glasses on, sunglasses on.
like very Jersey Shore, but also like, do you work for the mafia in New York?
It was a bizarre look. And then was it the same game where he's like photographed sitting end of the bench eating a box of popcorn?
Yes.
Well, he got dismissed from the team.
Yeah. So shout out to you, Andre. You unknowingly got an award. Donkey of the Week, bro. Good job. I knew that was kind of a curveball. Did you? Ooh, actually.
Well, I mean, I could throw out speaking of Illinois,
yes.
They I think it was last weekend. Decided to retire Terrence Shannon Jr.'s jersey, which from the rip was like he was a great player at Illinois.
Yeah,
awesome.
But
took them to a little questionable. They went on a great run last year to the Elite Eight, I believe. But he played for them last year. Yeah. Like from the jump, I don't know that I've ever seen a team retire a player's jersey literally the next year. So already that's weird. But anyways, they bring out Terrence Shannon on the court, and they're gonna, unveil the banner of his jersey, and that's about to be raised in the rafters, and they unveil it, and it's upside down. And it was so awkward and so embarrassing. This poor guy and his family are standing there waiting for him to, and his banner's upside down. And there was even a picture being circulated that they had to raise it up to start the game. And then eventually I think they brought it down and quickly took it down. But like the AD had to like jump the coach in line for the post-game press conference to be like, we are so sorry that happened. A total disaster.
There's one photo. It's like just a picture of Terrence like looking up at the banner, and you like his initial reaction to seeing it being upside down. But then like all of the people in the background, I mean, there's so many like these right here from like Illinois staff people being like, oh my God.
Oh no.
I've made a huge tiny mistake. Whoever that person is that was in charge of just like, hey, do you just want to make sure?
Yeah.
Right before we lower this thing, just make sure it's correct, right?
Yeah. It's like how somebody lost their job over that one.
I've got one donkey on your behalf.
Okay. And I've got one last one. So do you want me to go now and then you finish it?
You say, I'll see if you bring it up.
Okay. I don't think I think I got someone different. My last donkey is Doug Gottlieb. Doug Gottlieb, if you're not familiar with the man, long time ESPN and Fox Sports radio talk show host, college basketball analyst, just kind of sports analyst. Was his first, I guess, little bit of part of the infamousness about him was when he played at Oklahoma State. He got kicked off the team for like stealing credit cards or something like that.
Yeah,
something like that. That was his first brush with notoriety in any way. But anyway, he's been a long time just a talking head. Well, he got the head coaching job this year at Green Bay. Is it Green Bay University or Green Bay University?
Green Bay, yeah.
University of Green Bay, one of the two. Part of his deal with them was that he will still, as an acting Division I college basketball coach, I don't even know if they're Division I, but he will still do his radio show. He does his radio show, I guess, every day or multiple times a week.
It's a daily radio show. Yeah.
Yeah. He, even as crazy as this is, he went to Radio Row for the Super Bowl mid-season and watched their practice via Zoom. And it's like, how there's no way this is going to work, right? You're like, you have another full-time job on top of being a Division I college basketball coach. And you would be right, it's not working, because the Green Bay Phoenix are currently 3-26, last place in the Horizon League with a conference record of 1-17. At one point this season, they had lost 20 games in a row. And old Doug, he like benched their their best player at one point during the season because the dude was late to a practice. And it's like, you're not even at practice, man. You're on your, so big fat donkey of the year to Doug Gottlieb.
Wow.
Dude,
you're crowning him donkey of the year. I'm great with that, honestly.
I mean, it's hard to refute. It's been a total disaster.
Bad. No, I was going to say that wasn't the donkey that I had. This actually goes back several games. Shout out to your boy Hunter Dickinson from Kansas. He had a. You sent this. Also followed by the verbal meme of the like one person who's like sad on one side of the bus and the other side it's usually like the guy who's like taking pictures, and it's just both are sad, and it says Kansas football, Kansas basketball. Kansas got ran off the floor by BYU, and Hunter Dickinson had a -34 on the plus minus. So good.
I don't really know where this like absolute disgust and distaste that I have for Kansas basketball came from, because I like don't really have that many like personal, at least like Tennessee, but
you got to have like, that's just the beauty of college basketball. Like, you got to have some beef with somebody. I'm just glad it's Hunter Dickinson.
For some reason, I have just taken
get
so
a
much
job.
joy. Yeah, get a job. His whole like it's time, like the video when he was at Michigan. You're right. It's time to announce where I'm committing and going to Kansas, and it's just been a total fail.
And now somebody
they're
like
the number one team.
Yeah,
preseason number one, and they're unranked.
Somebody did a remake of that, the beginning of that video where you're like, yeah, you're right, it's time. And then it just flips to somebody bagging fries at McDonald's.
It's time to get a job, Hunter.
Time to get a job, bro. I guess my one, this is kind of a dog, but also donkey. I'll finish with this one. Hubert Davis, you snake in the grass. You weaseled yourself into a 5-year extension. Or I don't know, maybe he is the dog. And then Donkey goes to the University of North Carolina. You extended Hubert Davis for another 5 years.
5 years.
Stop
it.
Stop it.
Work the charm or something. I don't know.
He lands a Caleb Wilson recruit. I talked about that. But you're telling me like he quit. Get out of here. You guys stink.
You guys stink. Oh, brother.
This guy stinks. Yeah, get a freaking new head coach, North Carolina. Have some shame.
All season, it's been all these. Wait, I mean, I talk about two guys with a podcast that a couple people listen to, but like all of these athlete podcasts of former North Carolina players who are like, yeah, this ain't it. This is not what we do here at North Carolina. Like, and I know it's awkward because Hubert's a Carolina guy, but like,
sure, you're trying to do the Duke thing,
like smoked by Duke. Getting like, stop. You can't do that.
You have 6 national championships. Have some shame. Get a new guy. Stop it. It's not even my team. It's Anna's team. And I'm sitting here like...
Yeah, it's Anna's team. That's right. Shout out Anna Younger.
Shout out Anna. Sorry, you hitched your wagon with a team that just... I mean, like, I don't even care if you haven't...
Anna, like, never a worse time in history to be a North Carolina basketball fan.
Yeah. Pretty bad timing to hitch your wagon on that train.
they've had a pretty good 45-year run. At least the next few maybe don't look so good. Who knows? Maybe we'll just be totally eating crow.
The best thing they ever did was ending Coach K's time in the Final Four.
At least they will always have that.
That was the best thing they've ever done.
Well,
I guess they did have MJ. But.
Even watching Duke smoke them this year, where it's oh, this is sad. This is sad. This isn't supposed to be like this.
No.
Carolina fans can at least be like, you know what? We killed Coach K.
They did.
We sent him packing. At least you have that.
That was so sweet.
That was
sweet. Didn't mean to keep you up till 10:45 at night. You
it's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna get up at 5:30 and go to the gym with Razor.
As I say, just go throw some weight around Razor and then just go sling some HVACs, baby.
Yeah. Keep it rolling. Keep it moving.
You gotta help the folks out there have heat and air, bro.
That's right.
That's what they do at John H. Coleman. All right. Thanks for hanging with us. I'm Big Papa.
Bobby Hoops.
Bobby Hoops. We love you guys. See ya.
This is March.
This is March, baby.